Say what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. You're down. Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life. I ended up doing 24 years straight in the California prison system. During that time, I accumulated some good stories and also, like I said, some good insight on things related to prison. And with all that being said, we just to hop right up into this story right here. Now, let me give you all a little background information on this story that I'm about to react to. I just sped it up a little bit so we don't have to go through all the small things, but the background story is this. The white dude in the story who was being assaulted in one of these down south prisons initially pulled up claiming to be a blood. Now, the black dude in the story who's talking about assaulting him said when the white dude pulled up, he had already set his eyes on him sexually. He already wanted to take advantage of him. Due to the fact he was a blood, he initially gave him a pass, but he was always trying to find out a way to cut into him and do his thing. Now, so what ended up happening is at some point in time, the white dude went into like a closet or something and wrote a whole lot of satanic type stuff, 666 and all this stuff. Unfortunately for him, it happened to be right around football season. Now, you know, a lot of people in the penitentiary, they love football and that's the way they pass their time. So during one of these weekly or daily inspections or whatever they had, some CO noticed all this stuff was written in this room. And so he asked who did it, wouldn't nobody fess up. So he said, until someone came to fess up, there would be no football games on the TV being showed. And so, of course, you know, everybody is angry about this. And so this is how this individual, he used that incident to basically say he had the whole prison mad at him. And he used that to basically trick him and say, hey, man, now you're going to have to go ahead and let me sexually assault you or else, you know. And so when I start the story, they've already pulled knives on the dude. The dude has already got undressed. And, you know, they fist to do what they fist to do, man. Let me just say before I get to reacting to this video that it's definitely brutal. It is definitely cold. It's definitely kind of sick. So if you don't have the stomach for that, then you might want to tap on out right now because it's fist to get kind of ugly, you know. So with all that being said, let's hop into the story, man.
With some red shoestrings. So I ain't got nothing on but these tennis shoes and my undershort. I give him the grease. And I tell him to put some on his finger. Stick it in his ass and you know what I'm saying, kind of like fuck himself to loosen himself up because I know he had never been penetrated before. It was his first time.
Now, at that point, when dude told him that, man, it seemed like that, you know, all this gang stuff goes out the window. At some point in time, the man in you has to kick in or should have kicked in. Like I say, they didn't already pull big knives on this dude, man, but it seemed like, you know, a person would be willing to die or die trying to prevent something like that from happening. But I guess it wasn't in this particular individual. And that's the sad thing about some people who run around and want to join these gangs, but don't definitely have the heart to take that don't have the heart it takes to really survive and, you know, and get cracking when it's time to get cracking, man. Sometimes when your you know, your livelihood is at stake, you got to do what you got to do, you know, and if you got to fight and be killed, then that's what you got to do, you know, in trying to prevent what they was getting ready to do to him. But anyway, let's get back into it.
Old penitentiary trick that I learned from some old convicts. If he screamed rape, you know what I'm saying, he had grease on his fingernail. So he greased his own self up. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna basically lie and tell him I've been fucking him. He's been my boy. Hell, they gonna buy it. You know what I'm saying? Hell, I'm gonna go to the extreme and get 4 or 5 other guys that lie and say I've been fucking him too, been taken care of. He's been my boy.
But I said, what if I take this knife and stab it right through your face? I said, will you like that? So he's scared now when he see this knife, you know what I'm saying?
They had a knife to my eye and one in my throat right here, my jugular. And I'm telling you, I can just feel them, sticking me. And it's like if they put any pressure on, it's gonna cut me wide open.
I go to fucking him. You know what I'm saying? Slowly at first, you know what I'm saying? And try to loosen him up. It was tight. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was definitely a virgin.
Now, like I say, once again, man, it seemed like before it even got to that, man, this dude would have turned around and started fighting like a wild man, screaming, hollering, doing all that type of stuff, because before I got to playing the story, they had talked about where they had told him to take his pants down. And he didn't want, he told him, hey man, please don't do me like this. And dude told him, hey man, you better turn around or, I'm gonna punch you in the face and break your jaw. So reluctantly, the white dude turned around, and then the brother goes on to say at some point in time, he grabbed him by the ass with both hands. It seemed like that right there would have brought out all the man in him, if there was any in him, to cause him to start fighting like a demon for his life. But I guess he didn't have the heart.
He's groaning and, you know what I'm saying, moaning and telling me how it hurts. So, I bag out a little bit. At this time, my dog, he at the door. You know what I'm saying? He's standing in front of the cell. So he's like, man, come on, man, goddamn. Go on, hurry up, man. I want to get straight too. I said, well, come on. I get up off of him.
I'm in the middle of it now. I'm there, so I can't welch out now. You know what I'm saying? I got to go through with it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like stuck there in here with him.
He greases himself up. He shows him no mercy. He fucks him for real. You know what I'm saying? So I had to tell him, hold up, man. Slow down, chill out, man. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to hurt him for real. You know what I'm saying? And he had to go to the hospital, and you know what I'm saying? He's gonna automatically have to say what happened.
He have sex with him first. Then I have sex with him. Then he have sex with him. I have sex with him. Then he have sex with him. And then that was the end of it.
So I didn't finish it first. You know what I'm saying? So I fuck him, and I come off. I get my due. Next.
Now, what is shocking to me is how nonchalant and cavalier these dudes' attitudes is. Especially the first dude. You guys seen the second dude, he tried to lightweight minimize his role in the assault. But especially the first dude though, he's talking about his attitude is extremely cavalier, as if he's talking about eating a candy bar. And unfortunately, like I said, this is in a down south prison where they say the white population is only 15%. And so, that's the difference between being down south and being in the California prisons. The white guys, they have a stronger gang presence, which is definitely going to prevent any other race or anybody really from trying to prey sexually on one of their members. So, like I was saying, a lot of times, man, it's just people preying on their own in the California system. But down there where their numbers aren't as strong and their gang presence isn't as strong as the blacks, it can be held from them, apparently. It can be held for them.
You know what I'm saying? He goes to SEG. In prison, that's lockup.
So I'm like, in my heart, I'm like, damn, we through. We done got us a rape case.
They was telling me bullshit about, like, if you get in trouble, so we're going to go up there and lie and say you brought it on yourself and shit like that. And I was believing them. They had me in a position where they had me spooked. You know what I mean? Because I was looking to make parole and everything, and I wasn't trying to get in no conflict.
I say, you got two choices. You can either be with me, or you can go pack your shit and go tell them folks to lock you up. You go back to lockup.
Reluctantly, Matt agreed to become another one of Mark's boys.
Only thing I ask of you, don't try to make me be like a sissy, a girl inside a prison. We hook up, you know what I'm saying? Everything was lovey-dovey, you know what I'm saying? Relationship was gravy, all good. I transferred.
The warden had Mark shipped out of Limestone again, but everyone knew Matt had been turned out. The other men all wanted their shot.
And he got with this other dude, you know what I'm saying? He wound up having sex with him. He was doing so bad. So he wound up selling him to another dude, and that dude wound up selling him to another dude. And all this, what he was going through, was a result, because nobody messed with him. He was a blood.
He just went crazy. He just went to sleeping with different guys. I mean, just tossing their ass up. You know what I'm saying? Letting everybody fuck.
Now, sometimes, the odds are against you, in the event they happen to just creep up on this dude and catch him slipping where they had some knives on him and some knives on them and he couldn't necessarily do nothing, okay. But after that sexual assault, it seemed like he would have definitely became angry and wanted revenge and secured some type of weapon. In prison, it's 1,000 weapons, man. If you can't get a knife, you can get a baseball bat, you can get some type of weight, you can break the glass in the window. I mean, because at that point, it's like I say, it's past wanting some revenge in terms of a gang member, man. These dudes done, basically, man, raped you and took your livelihood as a man. So, I guess the fear of staying in prison for a retaliation act was deeper than the fear, deeper than the need to get revenge, man. And so the whole time he was in there, according to these guys, he was passed around.
Something that happened in the penitentiary that I left in the penitentiary. I mean, even the girl I got now, I mean, she's a fucking fox. I can't lose her about some humbug shit, I mean, if I can keep it from my family I done 4.5 years and then now I'm out 6 months and they still don't have any idea, I don't think it'll be a problem. And they ask me questions all the time. Well, how was college like and shit? I guess the penitentiary made me a real good liar.
If he stayed gone for 5, 6 years or whatever, if he ever come back to prison and there's someone in prison that remember him from then, he will always be a boy.
So basically, at the end of the story, he was saying that regardless of the fact that he paroled, in the event he ever was to come back, then if he was recognized and spotted, then once again they would already know that he was susceptible to that type of assault, and he would definitely be pressed upon again. At the end of my story, when I ended my last story the other day, when I was talking about the truth behind cheek busting and stuff, I got some comments on a story I did concerning the individual I had called Wild D in the story. Now, what happened was, in the story, we was in the county jail. We was getting ready to come out for day room. The guard was kind of an asshole and let us out much later than we normally came. So he finally came on the loudspeakers and said, "I'm gonna let you guys out in a few minutes, and when I do, you're gonna have a minute to come out and lock the doors." He wanted the cell doors locked because a lot of individuals would go back in the cell and start fighting, and so he wanted everybody to come out. So when he did crack the door, you had this one individual on the top tier taking his sweet time. Now the guard is doing his countdown, talking about, hurry up, lock that door. 15 seconds, I'm gonna lock everybody else up. Now, like I said, it was a Friday night. We wanted to come out and chill and watch BT. So dudes is hollering at this dude, said, "Hey man, close your door, homie. Close your door." Dude is still taking his sweet time. The guard is threatening and said, "All right, I'm just to lock y'all up." Dude is still taking his sweet time. So he finally comes out and he comes down the stairs. Individual I called by the name of Wild D approached him and told him, "Hey man, listen, what you done was disrespectful. I'm gonna need that fade." And he started walking off. When he started to walk away, the other dude who was taking his time coming out the cell, dope fiend him. Basically was, sucker punched him. And so they started fighting right then and there. The police came and got him. In about an hour, brought them both back. So the next day, the dude who had got sucker punched, he wanted a fight. He wanted another fight. So they ended up going into a cell and they started fighting. And so at some point in time, it went quiet up in the cell, and then dude started screaming and hollering for one of his homeboys that was in there. And so we went up there, me and a couple other dudes, and dude had him laying on the ground. And the dude who got sucker punched, he was on top of him and he was trying to take his boxers off him. And so, a couple dudes who was at the door with me told dude, "Stall him out. Don't do him like that. Don't do him like that." And so a lot of dudes was asking, "Well, hey, what about Wild D?" And this is just my personal opinion because I don't know. You have to watch the story. I went on to ask, well, Wild D, would he really have assaulted the dude? And he said, yeah. But in my personal opinion, because Wild D I stayed in the county jail about 2 years. I'd seen Wild D at least 3 or 4 times, in and out, maybe every 5, 6 months. He'd come in this, he'd come in for that. Um, Neither of those times he came in and out had I ever seen him try to rape somebody before, you know. But he definitely was, he had grew up in the YA, in the youth authority, California Youth Authority system, where raping each other, or certain individuals, is more prevalent than it is in the California prison system. The youth authority goes, I think, from the age of like 14 to somewhere probably like 25. So I mean, he was of that cloth, I mean, it wasn't, it wasn't beneath him. That wasn't something that he just decided to do at that time. But I believe his decision to try that was influenced by, he was one of them cats where back then he was about 26, 27. This is like 94. So he believed that since they was both Crips, the other Crip should have gave him a fair fight. So, when the other Crip dope fiend him and in his mind treated him like an enemy, I guess in his mind, he was going to try to humiliate the other individual in the worst way possible. And that way was to try to take his manhood or whatever. And so, like I say, that's just my opinion, but it does go on from time to time, and I'm not saying that that's a good reason to do what he done. I'm just giving my opinion as far as, knowing the individual, so anyway, that was that, man. This story right here, it was kind of cold because, dude didn't really have no he didn't have no win, I guess, due to lack of having support. And that's what I was trying to explain in the video I put up the other day, that by California having a lot of different gangs, the gangs are not gonna allow their homeboys to be preyed upon in that type of way. Most dudes who come to prison, they're in the cell with one of their homeboys. You know what I'm saying? And so unless you got a homeboy that's in there taking advantage of you, that's not gonna happen. And then when word gets out that this is this type of individual, your homeboys is not even just to let you go in there with this dude, even if he is a homie, So I just wanted to give y'all a little bit more insight on, the difference in atmospheres concerning that type of thing in different states. See, each state is different. Like I say, California is probably one of the very few states that's segregated by races. And when I say segregated, I mean we still talk to each other. We still interact with each other outside on the yard and stuff like that, but only to a certain degree. And we definitely, now California, they definitely won't put an individual who's white in the cell with a Hispanic or a black, so on and so forth. But these other states, they have no problems in doing that. And actually, even the county jail in Riverside, they will house you with another race. So it's only the California prison system that practices this type of practice that helps to perpetuate this type of racial angst against each other. You know what I'm saying? And so with that being said, man, it's your boy 16 to life. We gonna be back. Listen, I'm gonna start a new segment where what I'm gonna start doing is answering the questions of those people who leave questions in my comments. If you subscribed to my page and you leave a question, it's a good question, what I'll do is I'll make a segment where I'll go on here and I'll start answering your questions. So if you got a good question, leave it in the comment section and I'll call your name out on air and read it, man. So you already know what it is. It's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.